China has responded with anger to allegations from the US that it withheld information about the origins of the COVID-19 outbreak last year. Beijing said Washington had, quote, already gravely damaged international cooperation on COVID-19 and was now pointing fingers at other countries. The comments come as the US said it had deep concerns about China's handling of a WHO mission investigating the origins of the pandemic in the central city of Wuhan. The WHO team is expected to present their findings as early as this week. Several members of the team said they were happy with the access to information provided by China. But others, including Australian microbiologist Dominic Dwyer, said China refused to give the raw data on early COVID cases and that this could complicate efforts to understand how the outbreak began.
If you're really trying to go back to the very beginning to try and understand the sources, in the ideal world, you would go through it patient by patient by patient. And that's what we call a line listing. Now, obviously, all of that stuff is anonymous. You don't want the patient names or anything, but you want the details on, what were the questions asked, what were the responses, and what were the sort of analyses of the data. And that's standard practice for an outbreak investigation. In this situation, the Chinese gave us the results. We would have liked, I guess, to have seen the raw data, but that can still come.
Now, with aspects of the WHO mission to China still unclear, the uncertainty over the origins of the coronavirus are compounded by a deliberate disinformation campaign by China.
It began almost as soon as the coronavirus began to spread through Wuhan, Asia, and the world. A rumor here, a claim there, a conspiracy theory touted further afield and reposted. Had the virus been imported to China via frozen meat? Had one of its adversaries unleashed a bioweapon in Wuhan? As the world was fighting the coronavirus, a new war was raging online, a campaign of disinformation.
People traditionally think about Russia when they think about foreign information operations. With COVID, that really began to change, and we found that China played a central role with COVID disinformation.
Analysis of millions of Twitter interactions by the international affairs group The Atlantic Council with the Associated Press news agency shows the Chinese government weaponized social media for a propaganda war to deflect blame for the pandemic.
The Chinese government has an incredibly well-developed disinformation apparatus.
The investigation found China's apparatus of disinformation normally used on its own people was aimed abroad. Chinese diplomats added dozens and dozens of accounts to Twitter and Facebook, even though those platforms are banned in China.
Western countries, for the first time, saw China engaging in this more what's known as Russian-style tactics of throwing mud and seeing what sticks.
The mud throwing was often aimed at the U.S., where top officials pilloried China for the pandemic.
When the China virus invaded our shores, I promised that
China fought back against Trump's talk of a China virus. If the United States truly respects facts, it should open the biological lab at Fort Detrick. The Chinese Foreign Affairs Ministry was speaking and tweeting the prospect the virus was created in a U.S. military lab and carried to Wuhan during military games in late 2019. Tweets amplified by thousands of accounts around the world in dozens of languages and tens of millions of followers.
You don't necessarily want people abroad to believe you, but you want to have people come away with the impression that, well, the truth simply cannot be known. A says this, B says this, C says this, I don't like any of them, so who knows? And that, to the Chinese government, at least in the international context, would be a win.
Polling suggested as early as last spring that up to a third of people in a number of countries already believed the coronavirus was man-made. For its part, the Chinese Foreign Ministry says its diplomats use social media like other countries' diplomats and is opposed to the creation and spread of false information.